Real estate agencies scam their tenants. And this is not an ad. Have you ever rented a place in the past and at the end of the tenancy, the real estate agency's gone around and gone, this thing that you didn't know existed or never used before is dirty or damaged? If that's the case, you probably lost some of your bond. So the objective of this video is to show you the simple trick that real estate agencies use to steal part of your bond and give that to the landlord, and what you can do to combat it, what you can do to keep your bond. My name's Tim, and I'm a former certified real estate agent in New South Wales. So, the simple trick that the agencies use is purely perspective in their photographs. So they will lie in the text part. They'll say, this bit of wall is clean. It's a white wall that's clean, and they might mention it has minor marks. That, accompanied with a picture from all the way back here. That looks clean in the picture. It doesn't look dirty at all. And honestly, the little scuff marks that would be on there, the little oil marks that only get it on the right angle, you wouldn't see them most of the time when you walk in there and you go, oh, that's just natural, they've mentioned minor marks. So, yeah, it's fine. But when it comes time for the end of lease inspection, instead of taking the picture from all the way back here again, they'll instead take it from over here, where the light hits the bit of oil on there and makes it so much worse, so much more obvious. It makes it look like you've just grabbed a bucket of oil and gone all over the wall. So, what you need to do to combat this is, at the start of your tenancy, you will be given an initial condition report. That is where those initial photos and the agency's comments are there, and they just want you to say yes to everything they've said. Do you agree with it? Yes, yes, yes. There'll be things of, are there any weeds in the garden? Are there any marks on the walls or the ceiling? Do all the lights work? That sort of stuff. In the description down below, or above if you're on Facebook or Instagram, there will be a link to a mock condition report based off of an actual condition report given to us by one of our clients, who will also show a couple of pictures before and after on as well. So, what you need to do at the start of the tenancy to keep your bond is, when they give you that initial inspection report, you have a week to give it back, with whether you agree or disagree. If you don't give it back, it is assumed you agree. Legally, you agree. So, what you need to do is do your own initial inspection. Simple as that. Be as thorough as you can be. That is it. Go through, look at what they've said, look at where they put it, and go, okay, this angle. Do I agree with what they say? How can I make that more descriptive? And take your own photos. That is how you save your bond. Take time-stamped photos of the issues yourself. But don't just go off of what they've said. Let's give you an example. Give me a moment. Alright, just gone and edited this and realised I wasn't on camera for any part of this section, so let's do this again. I don't have a script, so it's going to be different. Not that you guys would know what the original one was, but if you guys want to see the blooper reel, let us know. But what I was saying is, we're using this as an example, right? I told you, I think I mentioned in the first part, this little corridor up to the front of my house. Right? That's not clean. We don't clean our house. We really should. But you'll see down here in a moment, a couple of weeds, got stuff council pick up, got our bins up there. So what you need to do is go through. See, okay, there's a weed here. And come through, time-stamped photo of the weed. You've got the council pickup stuff. Time-stamped photo of that. List out what's in that council pickup stuff. Because if there's anything extra that you add to it, then it's all your responsibility as well. But The weeds, as long as there's not extra in there, technically isn't your responsibility, but you should do it anyway, just to be a bit courteous. Now, the other thing you need to do, once you've gone through and gotten the obvious stuff, say, such as the weeds and council pickup stuff, go through a bit more of a fine-tooth comb, look at the walls, go, face on, is there anything on this? Is there a bit of dirt on the outside areas? Is there, say, bird poo on this one? I see a bit of bird poo here, a couple of spider webs. So you go through, on the angle where you can see it most clearly, take a photo, write it down. In sections where you've gotten everything that's obvious, every face on, little bit, the next thing you need to do, look down the wall. Look down this wall. Look down every single wall. See if there is any part that is slightly more shiny or duller. You go to that area. Find where you can see the shine or the dullness most. If you can actually see a bit of a mark there. And what do? Oh yeah, take a photo. You note it down, take a photo, get it all onto that initial inspection report. That way, when it comes time for the end of inspection, when they say there's a mark here on that wall, you can go, yeah, I know, it was there before I moved in. You can see it here in photo 37 of bedroom 2 of the initial inspection report. If they ignore that stuff, then it is illegal and they will get fined a lot when you take them to tribunal. The fines for real estate are insane. But once you've gone through and done all that as well, the outside areas, which would include the non-communal parts of it as well. So everything that's non-communal, take a picture of this. If you get a parking spot, say you live in a unit in Wollongong, there is a parking spot allocated to you. That is your responsibility as well. If you have an oil spill there, it is your responsibility to clean it up. If there's an oil spill already there, you just ignore it, right? No. Take a photo, write it down, make sure everything is noted, every tiny little bit of damage. If there is so much as a finger nail mark or a child's handprint on a wall, write it down, take a photo of it, otherwise you are responsible. In sections where it's outside or even just your bins. Your bins are also your responsibility. Everything that is your responsibility, you need to check. Your outside bins, do they have spider webs outside? That part you're not really going to be picked up on depending on which agency you're with. But if there is rubbish inside of it, most agencies will again just do the courteous thing and take it to roadside if it's not the bin week. Then say it's red bin week when you go and you've taken the red bin out to the roadside. Some agencies will be, but your yellow bin's full as well. So what you need to do, if there is any bit of rubbish in it, take a photo, note it down, and when you leave, take both bins out to the roadside, unless it is against a strata agreement. If there is any agreement that you've also signed on to that says bins can't be out on Tuesday because bin night is Thursday, then don't put your bin out. That's not there. Leave on the Thursday, take your bin out. Or say to the agency in writing, I'll come back on Wednesday and take this bin out the roadside for you. If you don't do it, then they can get you again there for that. But realistically, good agencies, such as Harcourts, who I used to work for, will often take the bin out for you if it's not bin week. But with that said, you might be wondering, what if I'm moving into a pre-furnished area? So with that, we're going to go inside. We're going to go into my room, which, again, isn't clean. I'm a cleaner that doesn't clean his own room. I need to do that more often. But I'm going to go through as if my room was a room that you were renting. A pre-furnished room. Go over absolutely everything. Alrighty, we're in my room. As you see, it's quite warm today as well, but we're going to go through this together as if this was the place I was moving into. Alright, so the first thing, we work top to bottom. That is the way us cleaners work. So we're going to, first off, look on the roof. you can see up the back there that that light over there is not working. Same as this light up here. Neither of those are working, so I would take a timestamp picture and write it down. I would also then move to the fan, which, as you can see, is on right now. I would not have that on when doing an inspection, but I would climb up on a ladder and have a look on top of it. Because if there's dust on there, which I can assure you there will be, then you write that down. Alright, that should stop the swaying a little bit. But yeah, when it comes to the fan, have it off, go up there, have a look on each of the blades, up the top, write down that there's dust on top, because there's almost guaranteed to be dust on top. And real estates will do exactly that. If you don't have downlights like I do, then you've probably got a light fixture, whether it be an oyster light or say a pendant light. Go on there, have a look. Is there dust on the oyster light or on the pendant itself? Is there dust in the chains? Write down every single mark, every single speck of dust. There's dust on every side of the pendant light, or just pendant light is dirty, or if it's damaged, the light is damaged, take a photo of it and move on from there. The next thing we do is we go to the next highest point, which is on top of the door frames and on top of the built-in room. So we'll go up here and we go, there's dust up here. I'm going to smear a bit off. As you can see, maybe a bit of dust is flaking off my finger right there. There's actually a good amount of dust up there. Then go through your built-in robe or your walk-in robe if you have one. Go every shelf. Is there dust? Is there marks? Any single thing. Take a photo of it, note it down. The next highest point, and so far this is all stuff you do in an unfurnished room as well. But next highest point, your light switches. Now this is a really controversial one depending on real estate. So some will just look on the top here for dust, which again, there is. And some will look for fingerprints on the light switch. Yeah, we got done by that one point. And it was a 2-second job just to wipe it down. What's the next highest point? Okay, in this case, it's just the walls, but I'm going to do the walls last. Because, well, there's so much more obvious stuff that I might want to get out of the way first. Let's say the desk and the microphone. So as you can see, I've got quite a few things on my desk. One of which is these monitors. And you can already see I've got a couple of fingerprints here. There is quite a bit of dust. So I'd take a picture of that, note it down. Same thing with the microphone. Any damage, any dust, you can see all that dust up there. That is lovely. Spider webs, whole kit caboodle. It's all the same stuff, no matter what you are doing. Is there dust? Is there damage? Look at all the different angles. Like over here, can't see anything. So we go over here. Nothing. What about over here? Nothing. So then we'll go over here. Computer. Dust. I'm not going to pull the computer apart, and I wouldn't suggest it if you are not qualified to do so either. Agencies won't do that either. Then we'll go over. I would point out, my bin is full. My can collection bin is full. Then we'll go over to here. Look at all this dust. Look at that. Look at that mark right there. Beautiful. So dust, dirt, go through every drawer and see if there's stuff in it. If there's any marks, any damage. You guys know the drill by now. But then we'll go through. Again, the very next thing, one thing that people always miss is your curtains and blinds. So you go through, blind by blind. Any dust or dirt. Well, I can see a bit of dust there as well. But let's say this one right here. There's a mark right there. So, just seeing that one mark, I can say blinds are dirty. I could also say the track is dirty as well. Look at all that dust up there. That is charming. So, there's your blinds. Then you open this up. Of course, you go blind by blind and see if you have any damage as well. Then we have a look at the glass. Is there any marks on it? Which there's a mark here, which you can't really see too much on camera either. You have to bring it over here. So in this case, you would point to it right there like that. You'll see that a lot in end of lease condition reports, where the agent has just come in and taken a picture with their finger against a mirror or something. But then we go to the next highest point, which in this case is the bed. Are there fresh sheets? Is it made up? No, I don't make my bed. So they're not fresh sheets. It's recently been slept in, and the bed is not made. Then to the next highest point, being the extra PowerPoints down the bottom, is that there's one under the desk as well, which we can't see right now, but could always assume. So we go over to this one that we can see. Then we go, all right, there is dust on top of it. And you check every single socket as well. So when there is any light switch or any socket, check them. Plug in your phone. Turn on the light. Whatever you got to do to test it. So that if a plug doesn't go in, we've seen plenty of, especially sockets, electrical sockets and plugs, where we've gone to plug something in. This is in the same client's house which actually sent us the condition report, which I'll show at the end of this, just a couple of pictures of before and after, the initial inspection report and the end of lease inspection report. They had a electrical socket where we couldn't plug anything in. There was concrete behind it. It was a fake plug. So you would have to write down plug is fake on which one and take a picture of you trying to plug the thing in. Because if, say, you come to the end of the lease and they've tried to plug in a vacuum, or they've had a cleaner like us go in and go, hey, none of the sockets work, who do you think they're going to blame for it? They're not going to blame the builder, even if they get the socket off later on and go, well, why is that filled in? Their answer will be, must have been the tenant. And the other thing you test is the fan. So, I can hear different speed, turns off. It does not have a light on it, even though it has the light switch. It also has a timer, which I would test as well. I would only test the 1 or the 2 hour on it because I know the initial inspection is going to take me at least 1 hour. Personally, that will take me probably 2 or 3 hours because I'm going to go through with a fine-tooth comb, maybe even 4 because I'll honestly take a couple of breaks. It does not have to be done in one day. It does not have to be done in one go. You can go, okay, I'm just going to do a room a day. You know, there's the kitchen, there's the dining room, there's the 2 bathrooms, I might do them together. You know, I've got 3 bedrooms, that's 6 rooms, and I've got to hand it in on a 7th day. That's perfectly fine. There is no hassle with that. So there is the time to test every single timer. So check your phone. What time is it? Okay, it's currently noon. You know, it's 12 on the dot. Wait for 12:01. Hit the timer, and when the fan stops, check your timer again. You know, check your watch, and be like, okay, it is 1:01. The hour timer works. It is accurate. Let's say you tested the 8 hour though. You've tested it. You've started it. Let's say 10 in the morning. And then it turns off at 2 in the afternoon. Yeah, let's see. 10, 11, 12, 1, 2. Wait, that's only 4 hours. there are fans and timers that are reduced and only the lower times work. They will only set it to that because that is a power saver thing. And in cases like our place, where we're part of a triplex here, so 3 houses all connected, none of it's separately metered. So legally, and thankfully Domain Illawarra is doing us quite well here as well, by following all the laws, and they've treated us really well, so no issues with them at all. They've told the landlord, hey, legally, you have to pay for their utilities. Separate utilities are paid by the tenant. If it's not separately metered, it is paid by the landlord. That's it. End of discussion. The landlord can decide to pay for your utilities as an incentive for people to rent there, if they choose to, if it is separately metered. But if it is not separately metered, they have to pay. That's it. Right, back to the inspection. Now that the socket's been sorted, and we've gone top to bottom, we've gone from roof all the way down to floor. We haven't done the floor yet, though. You want to guess what the next part is? Has to be behind everything, right? Now, you check the floor first. Check the parts of the floor you can see with the stuff where it is when you move in. Are there any marks? Is there any build-up or dust of hair or anything like that? Which, in this case, there definitely is. But you can see I would have a field day writing all this. I've got a few marks in between the grout, which, yes, they were not there when I moved in, so I have to clean them out. I can also see under the desk that there's a bunch of build-up there too. I would note the bits of gyprock over there, which were part of another video, which I definitely messed those up. So that is a whole blooper video as well. So I would note all this stuff down. Everything I can see outside. So I'd be pictures of that. Pictures of that. Pictures of all this stuff on the floor. Then after you've done the floor, so we've done the roof all the way down, haven't done the walls yet. Now it is time to pull all the furniture out. You pull the bed away from the wall, away from where it was, then you check that entire wall there where the bed is. So you can see over here, I don't know if it's on camera or not, but I can see I'm pointing to it right now, there is a blue mark on the wall. And a grey mark down there, a couple of scuff marks. Can you guess what we do with that? You do exactly what we've been doing this entire time. Take a time-stamped photo of it and note it down. Don't have to be specific about it being a blue mark, just scuff marks on the wall, and you take a picture of the blue one, take a picture of the grey one, take a picture of anything else you see on the wall, which there might be some behind the bed, which I don't know right now. Then, just put the bed back. And then you move on to the next thing. Let's stay as the desk. Then you pull that out, you'd pull the tall boy out, and you check that entire wall that those are both up against. Is there any marks? Is there any damage? Check for something as little as fingernail damage. Remember that. We have seen a client actually have to lose some of their bond because there was a fingernail mark in the wall. But yeah, as I said, we're now onto the walls. After we moved everything out, you take pictures of the walls, all behind it, because there was no point doing half the wall and then coming back to it after you've pulled something out, because you're going to forget it that way. You'd also do the floor underneath everything that you've pulled out. So when you pulled out the bed, you'd check underneath for any dust, any dirt, any items that were underneath there. Might be, say, a Pepsi Max can that fell out of that bin. Definitely pull everything out, check underneath, and take pictures of every single thing. Note every single thing down. As I said in the description, there is going to be a mock condition report, so you can see every part you need to do. Some parts won't be on the condition report the agency gives you. So you write it down on the back, or at the bottom, on the side, wherever there's room. And you specify, say it was in this bedroom, but they didn't put in the built-in robe. So you just put in, say, BIR, built-in robe. Or you'd put in closet. Anything that describes it the best you can think of. So that when you get asked by the agency, hey, what's this what's this closet that you're talking about? You can go, oh, it's the thing in the back right corner with the mirror on it, which was another thing I didn't mention. Check the mirror. So as you can see, there's marks on it. We have a bit of plaster from when the landlord was the one actually building this house, so he spilled some plaster on this. He also spilled stuff on the glass door, which I've already cleaned up. But yeah, now that we've gone through an entire room together, you should understand what you need to do for every single room, every single area. It's not just room. It is the carport. It is any walkway to your house. So if you're in a granny flat where you've got a walkway down the side of the house, that's also your responsibility. So you note every single thing there. The door hinge on the gate. Is that rusted? Anything like that, you write it down, take a photo. That way, if at the end of the tenancy, the agency goes, hey, this thing over here, it's dirty, it's damaged, you can go, look at image 73 of this area from the initial inspection report. It was like that when we moved in. And if you take them to tribunal for it, or if they take you to tribunal, they will lose. As simple as that. You have the evidence on your side. And tribunal honestly usually sides with the tenant. But another bit of real estate advice is even if the real estate says, hey, don't take us to tribunal, or if you cancel the tribunal thing there, we'll do what you've asked. Get it in writing. Or don't concede to their demands until they do what they say they will. Because a lot of real estates, unfortunately, lie to win for their client. Their client is not you as the tenant, but the landlord. But with that said, I'm going to show you a couple of points on the initial inspection compared to the end of tenancy inspection report that our client gave us permission to give as well. Of course, I'm not going to show the address, who they were with, or their name, or anything identifying to that client. Just pictures of the property, descriptions from the real estate. So let's have a look. Let's start with something I mentioned right at the start of this video. Do you remember where I mentioned that they take photos of walls at different angles? How sometimes it makes it look like you've thrown a bucket of oil against the wall? Well, this might not be the best example of it, but it still shows the point. As you can see in the notes at the top, it says that at the start, the walls were wet painted plaster with 2 small black picture hooks installed, that the walls were in good condition with minor discoloration marks between the hooks and the power point, and had this photo accompanying that description. I don't know about you, but I can see some discoloration right here. That must be what they're talking about, right? Well, according to this photo of the quote-unquote dirty wall, it mustn't have been. Now, if you've been paying attention, you would notice this photo was taken as a close-up and on an angle where the aging shadow emphasizes the discoloration, making it look far worse than it actually was. When we were there and looked at it from the same angle as the initial report, wouldn't you believe it, it looked the exact same. Let's move on to another example. To the top of the range hood. Here is the initial image. As you can see, it doesn't show the top of it at the best angle. But if we're paying attention, we can actually see there's a tiny bit of orange right there, indicating that it's already dirt. And when you realize that when they say that the range hood is clean, it becomes extremely obvious that they always intended to have the tenant foot the spill. Especially when you compare it to the photo that was taken at the end of the lease for the report. It's not even close to the same angle. Now, you could argue that this is a normal amount of build-up for the 6 months that our client lived there. But at the same time, you can see that the orange, the fat, in the first image lines up perfectly with this one. Now we get to the last two. And honestly, they're the most disgusting ones. If you feel like you've already kind of gotten the point and you don't want to see something super disgusting, thank you for watching, but I would advise you not to watch any further. For those who stay, this is the second last part, which isn't the most disgusting, but it is the dishwasher. That's right, the dishwasher is also your responsibility. And honestly, in most cases, it's just the real estate being petty, saying you've got a bit of dust around the rim of the dishwasher. But When it comes to end of lease photos with agencies such as this one, who pulled the wool over our client's eyes, and to us, when we came there and cleaned a dishwasher, it was pretty obvious she barely used it. But these were the photos they took. As you can see, the initial photos, the agency didn't show the filters at all. But they've gotten nice and close and specifically targeted them for the end of lease photos. Thankfully, the filters weren't worse, but the idea that the filters could have been completely full with moldy food before you move in, and the real estate just sweeps it under the rug, just hides it, that is honestly the most disgusting part about this one. Now we get to the most disgusting part of this report, in my opinion. These blinds were initially reported as clean, as indicated by the leftmost Y. But if we enhance again. Now let's just zoom all the way in. You can see marks all over the blind, like here and here. In fact, when we were cleaning these blinds, they were actually dead bugs. So as you saw, the initial images were taken at a distance. That shows them as clean. It wasn't just that set of blinds, but every other set of blinds in the apartment. Here's another set. Now, here are the images of that same initial blind for the end of lease condition report. Now, this client told us they never rolled the blinds down the entire time they were there. They just trusted the real estate. And boy, was that a mistake.